Do you want to do our top 5? Did you prepare a top 5?
I did. Yeah, and honorable mentions.
Yeah, I have a pile of those.
So how about you do all your honorable mentions, then I'll do all of my honorable mentions.
Oh, you want to just start with honorable mentions?
Yeah. Well,
Sure.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that.
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Hot D Season 2. Good stuff, but not a top 5er for me. Inside Out 2, I thought was really good.
Yeah.
X-Men 97, which is very close to getting in the top 5. Very close. Dune 2, very respectable movie.
That's respectable.
And then this is real close to getting in the top 5. Best Christmas pageant ever.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And one more honorable mention, Jason's Goodwill video.
Oh, shit. No, I'm going to write that in too. So I have very similar honorable mentions, but some unique things. So House of the Dragon season 2. Yeah, I agree. It's good, but it's not up to the first season. It didn't have that complete thing. It's one of the better things on TV anyway. 3 Body Problem, which people gave me shit about liking.
They didn't like you liking that. Yeah.
I stand by it. I think if you're into like kind of like just sci-fi, I think it's good. Like just dry sci-fi. I think it's pretty good. X-Men 97, which I thought was surprisingly good. This is a cheat, but the Zelda 2 remake long play by Lack Attack 24 on YouTube. And the reason why I did this is because it was posted this year, but the Zelda 2 remake was not made this year. But this long play put me onto that. And Lack Attack 24, he does Zelda speed runs, and he was just playing this as on Twitch, and this is a VOD. It's not really that remarkable, but it got me onto Zelda too. So that's why I'm mentioning it. And then the last thing is also kind of like, it encompasses a lot of videos I've been watching this year. And it's a YouTuber, Bushy. He does Elden Ring challenge runs, and he did recently a Elden Ring all 207 bosses, but randomized.
So shall I do my number 5?
Yeah.
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh, nice.
Look, the Call My Name sequence where it's profile of them killing all the Deadpools. I probably have watched it 25 times. I mean, I love it. And it is, and him popping on the mat. I mean, it's so cheap. But I guess that just goes to show you, like, audiences aren't that hard to please. Like, sometimes just put on the damn Wolverine mask and kill people to a cool song. I thought there was just enough, like that. Not everything about that movie is perfect. There's so few movies I'm going to return to, and that's one that I'll probably at least return to its scenes from time to time for a long time. It's like apart from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, it's really the only worthy entry into the MCU since Endgame, sadly.
Yeah.
So I got to give it credit.
So my number 5 is Astrobot. They actually, they won Game of the Year at the Game Awards, and they basically on stage, without saying the company name, they thanked Nintendo. They were like, the developer of Mario. I guess like Sony didn't want them mentioning Nintendo, but they were like, the developer of games maybe like Super Mario. Thank you for really inspiring us. It takes that kind of Super Mario, the Super Mario 3D World, the Super Mario Galaxy mentality. It adds a lot of like love of the legacy of PlayStation, and then it just adds its own really good, unique gimmicks to make the level designs really, really fun. So I got to hand it to them for really pulling it off.
It certainly looks fun. Number 4, Bluey the Sign.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. Hell yeah.
It's as far as Bluey goes, that's their movie. I understand they're going to be making a new movie. A 30-minute, we're going to move and actually we're not going to move. I thought it worked really well. I think the way that the plots intersect and the characters intersect, and the fact that they somehow manage to still keep like the kids and their play in focus while these more serious things are going on. And the way that Bluey understands what's happening and Bingo doesn't until it's happening is so true to life. It just, I think more than your average, like way more than your average product these days, this thing understands human beings and families. And so I got to give it that. I got to give it props. It was really, really, for 30 minutes of TV, that's really strong.
Didn't the Bluey creator say like after the movie he's basically like done? And
I guess so.
And then somebody else is going to pick it up.
It's like the most popular thing going, Bluey.
No.
You can see why.
So my number 4 is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Sweet.
I don't know. There's something about it. It's just back to basics kind of thing going on. I think it was just very competently directed. I didn't even like think about that these are all CG apes. I was along for the ride. I was along for this hero's journey.
The second one, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, is still my favorite of the bunch. This might be my second favorite of the bunch.
At that moment in time that I saw it, I wanted something just conventional.
Yeah, it kind of plays like a fable, right? Yeah. Like a classic parable. My number 3 was the Ted Peacock series.
Oh, that's a good pull.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought it was hysterically funny, and it even had good, heartwarming character moments like during it. I think this little series might be like the best thing that Seth MacFarlane has ever made for my money. You know, that's story driven, but also hilarious. That also has his sensibilities. It feels like it's like him at the height of his powers.
And he got a boner, and then he fought it.
What if I get a boner and I farted? Yeah, the Massachusetts accent just killed me the whole time.
Number 3, I have Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh, wow. That high. Yep.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I said it wasn't like that great of a movie, but like as an experience, I don't think there's really much you could ask for in the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
And it's just so fun. Like, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are just perfect. Their chemistry is so perfect. The cameos were well done.
Yeah, and that affection for Fox.
Yeah, the affection for Fox, even like ending with a dumb Green Day song. I was just like,
yeah,
this is great. And the Like a Prayer like builds into the orchestral choral
when
version.
You call my name, it's like a prayer. Yeah, it's great.
So it's just everything. It's great.
Number 2 for me is Penguin.
Ooh, we got the same number 2.
Oh yeah, so we should just talk about Penguin now.
Let's just talk about the Penguin now because we're the same number 2.
What's there to say? Somewhat like Ted, actually, it may have been the case that this show had a great Penguin at the forefront, and then maybe not a lot of great characters otherwise, right? Or maybe he gets overshadowed, or maybe he, whatever, like, or maybe he doesn't really feel like the Penguin, or whatever. Yeah. But it just stuck the landing as I think the best thing about it is that it had, whatever, it's like 4 main characters, and they all work. They all work beautifully, and they all intersect beautifully. More importantly, they intersect. Shot beautifully. I mean, yeah, I could live in this Gotham for seasons and seasons and seasons.
You almost forget it's Colin Farrell. And it's just so crazy how he disappears in another role, and even better portrayals than the movie that he was more like Robert De Niro in that movie. He's something, I think, even more distinct in this.
Yeah,
and more,
he found something.
More developed. And yeah, Sophia Falcone, baby. That's a reason enough for it to be number 2, in my opinion.
And it started and it finished, right? Yeah. Like, you don't really have had to have seen the Batman to enjoy this.
Yeah.
And you don't have to watch anything after this.
Yeah.
It's a movie. Tarantino was talking about this on Joe Rogan not so long ago. He was talking about how he doesn't really like shows a lot of the time because they'll compel you for a little while, and then it becomes clear that like they're not telling a story. You're just spending time with characters. The shows that really stick with you kind of like have a landing that they're working towards. And this had that because it was a limited series.
Yeah, I think that's the best prestige shows I think have like a good arc in a season. Like,
yep.
Even if it does continue on, like you tell a story.
Righteous Gemstones always finishes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Actually, I think all of the Danny McBride stuff, like Eastbound and Down, always had an ending every season. That's like I remember when I remember seeing Eastbound and Down and being like, oh, they must watch like UK television because in the UK they kind of plot out their seasons in such a way that like they conclude typically.
Series, they call them series.
Series, yes, series 1 and series 2. All right, and so my number 1 is Casa Bonita, Mi Amor. Look, I'm not here to surprise you. I love Trey Parker, and watching him do such an unusual project at this stage of his career, of his long, incredible career where he's done a lot of cool things. And, you know, at this stage, he's like, I'm going to make the best Mexican restaurant ever. It's just kind of fascinating to watch. And then, of course, there's the element of the partnership with Matt, where you can tell that Matt is not invested in this the way that Trey is. But anything Trey wants to pursue, Matt is going to try to make a path for him towards it. And that's been their relationship since college. So what you got for number one?
My number one, and this is probably not surprising anybody, but it's the Elden Ring DLC, Shadow of the Erdtree.
Wow.
I'm on my third playthrough of it. So
Damn.
It's
How long is it? DLC.
the DLC, like you can beat it pretty quickly, but I would say on the first round it's like 40 hours.
40 fucking hours.
Yeah. And
Holy.
I just think it's everything that's great about Elden Ring, the base game, but like in a more condensed map, a more interesting map, I think, filled with more interesting things. The boss designs are just, I think, up the creativity very much. It's challenging, has a lot of different weapon classes that I think are add some variety. I don't know. Elden Ring is starting to become like one of my favorite games of all time, like Mario 3 levels, where I'm just like, I want to play it just to run my fingers through the grooves of nostalgia, you know? I think recently they announced like a spin-off, like Elden Ring Night Rain, I think it's called. It's kind of like, it's kind of a randomized thing with multiplayer, which I don't think I'll like. I like something that feels more intentional. Like when you put an item there, the developers thought, I'm going to put an item there, you know, like I'm going to do this. All this randomized stuff that people get into, like indie games do a lot of randomized stuff.
No.
I'm not into that. I like when games are just like, they're designed. And this one feels like super well designed. The art style I love the art style, like the gothic, larger than life kind of architecture. And I'm going to be playing that. I'm going to be probably playing that after we stop talking.
Do you think that media is starting to be, you know, in spite of the acolytes, in spite of the Agatha all-alongs, do you think that media is starting to be on an upswing? Are we on our way towards some kind of a renaissance?
It's hard to say, because like all this time we've been watching YouTube, and YouTube is good too. Like it's different, obviously.
That's the problem. Is it's not an adequate replacement because it's simply not narrative. Stuff. You know.
I think there will be some course correction, but I don't ever think it'll be as big as it once was. Movies, even maybe some TV shows, but I think movies aren't gonna ever be what they were.
Yeah, there was some media consumption study done last year, and it showed that like millennials and Zoomers, their number one most preferred thing to watch is user generated content, so YouTube and social media and TikTok. Number 2 was video games. Number 3 was serialized narrative television or series. And number 4 was movies, theatrical movies. I just think nothing beats a movie. Well, get this, man. The Superman trailer, James Gunn's Superman trailer, it's got 250 million views. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Like Donald Trump on Joe Rogan was 50 million. This thing's got 250 million views, 1 million social media posts. People are pretty psyched about that. And it's fascinating because it's not like we've never gotten a Superman movie before, that's for sure. But you can tell that like the culture is responding to like, could I get an earnest hero? And ironically, they hired the guy who kind of makes subversive, cynical stuff, but he also doesn't. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is a very sincere movie.
Yeah. And you can tell James Gunn gets what we need to do right now.
Yeah.
And even with the tagline, look up, you know, it's very hopeful. It's very, that poster I thought was really good. And I thought the trailer was good too.
Yeah.
I know like a lot of people are mixed on it, but.
Were they? Yeah.
It looks to me like those Bruce Timm cartoons, which was a Superman world full of lots of, you know, superheroes and villains. And
yeah, I guess if anything gave me pause, it would just be like, are we doing like a DC universe movie or are we doing a Superman movie? You know, and I continue to be very confused about the continuity. But I recently saw him say somebody was asking him point blank, and I think it's clear that Creature Commandos was greenlit and written prior to him becoming the head. So he was working on the James Gunniverse of DC, and that was the Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, and Creature Commandos.
Right.
And even though that was partially based in the Snyderverse, I think you can think of that almost like how Joel Schumacher.
Yeah.
It was partially based in the Tim Burton story. You know, Commissioner Gordon was the same guy and stuff, but really it was the Joel Schumacher universe. It was kind of like a soft reboot. It was like one of the first soft reboots ever. I think this was kind of like that. Then he took it over. Then he's like, crap, I don't want to just scrap the stuff that I just made. And he just shot Peacemaker season 2. He just shot it. And so his answer was Peacemaker is canon, except for the part where he meets the Justice League at the end, which we will address.
I wonder how they'll do that.
I think it's going to be like you didn't really encounter the Justice League, like and then he's like, and then Peacemaker references the Suicide Squad, so therefore that must be canon. But you know, and where he ended was he was like, I think the characters from both of those shows are not the most reliable people in the world for information.
Yeah.
So I think it's just going to be retooled a bit to be like, Margot Robbie's not in it anymore, and
Peacemaker season 1 is basically canon outside of the appearance of the Justice League at the end. Suicide Squad is probably a little bit looser. I'm not, you know, but that exists as canon because it was mentioned in Creature Commandos. I think of Suicide Squad and Peacemakers as pretty unreliable memories of what happened in the DCU.
And that one shot where he's saving the little girl, it was like, that could have been the whole teaser, frankly.
Oh, yeah.
Like that one shot of him saving a little girl from imminent doom is like, if that's the movie, then that's the movie that I think we need.
And also just like, I don't know, a male and a female like making out. It's like, okay, got some romance. That's fun.
Some heteronormativity.
Some romance. Look, the gays can't have all the fun.
I think it's crucially important that he's apolitical in this movie. No. Crucially important. All right.
Although Disney tends to put the gays out of focus in the background.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Yeah. That's the thing is like, how do you be apolitical? What does that even look like at this point?
I don't even know. Yeah. Yeah. And especially since we just watched Creature Commandos where they start off with incels, like making quips and stuff. It's like, I don't know.
Word is they have the most incredible waterfalls. I have this question for all the woke feminists out there.
Subscribe to Red Cow Entertainment on Patreon for full episodes every other week.